And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. A vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because I keep forgetting where to put my damned microphone. You'd think after all this time I'd actually remember where the hell it's supposed to be. I forgot it's supposed to be like right next to my face. Otherwise it doesn't pick up correctly. You can try it out for yourselves one of these days. There's a reason why there are pop filters and such on these things. Part of this is follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I am your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. It's Shujin. Hi. At the moment, only one joining me right now from the frozen capital of the Midwest of the U.S., Brigid Fitch. Hi.
Hi, it's not really freezing right now,
Oh, you got lucky.
believe it or not. We're having storms though.
Uh, See, the reason why I mentioned about this is because for those of you that have not followed me for whatever reason or don't pay attention to it, the weather in the Buffalo market this week has been up
Rather
and
balmy.
up and down is probably the nicest way to put it. We were okay, and then we were kind of, 8, 10 Celsius, and then all of a sudden we got hit with a nice dusting of snow, a little bit more than a dusting, but dusting nonetheless. And it stayed for a couple of days, and then, oh, look at that. It's all nice and wet again. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's 18 here now, but it was pushing 23, 24,
Yeah,
and then it got hard freeze, and now it's it's seasonable.
yeah, yeah. And me, I'm just looking at stuff and I'm just like, is it time for me to go ahead and put the plants on the porch? I'm gonna go with no.
Mm,
I'm gonna go with no.
I think for us, I think it's safe to put our plants back out on the porch now.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that plays out.
I don't think we've got any freeze warnings, at least for my area, anytime soon, so that's good.
Yeah, we'll see. In any case, hi everybody. Yeah, it is just the two of us at the moment. I don't know what's going to be happening with everybody else, except I did get word from UnrenownedTech. He is not going to be able to be with us tonight, which is a little unfortunate. Let me finish the introductions for everybody. If you join us live, of course, while we're recording, you're going to have to wait a little bit. I'll explain. But when we are recording live over on YouTube, you can join us over in the chat. Stephanie, good morning. Good to see you. And Felis, hi. Good to see you both too. Yeah, so as a quick reminder, for those of you that for whatever reason didn't know about it already, I've kind of decided that I'm going to take a little bit of time off, which means that the for the month of May, I'm actually taking completely off from all of the online entertainment that I otherwise normally do, which means DJ sets that I would normally do are I'm not doing any of them. Uh, HCTV is going to be suspended temporarily for the month of May. Um, I may try to put out a video for My Little Pony channel. Don't ask, but it'll show up in the horrible scopes as to what I might do because I discovered something and I don't know if I'm right or not. But be that as it may, but yeah, for those of you that have been with me long enough, you know full well I don't like to not do because I always feel like I've got some kind of a responsibility. The whole Spider-Man thing because, giving entertainment to folks, it's in some fashion. I mean, that's kind of important to me and over the last couple of years has been like super important for me to be able to do that. So for me to take any time off is usually really, really surprising. Never mind the fact that Friday night shows in Second Life, I like never, unless I'm out of town or like got a power outage, I'm always doing it. And even that, I'm just wiping clean. May is a bad month for me because the 22nd is the day that my wife passed. So May has always been a really tough one for me. I'm just, I need to do for me because I'm finally realizing that ever since my wife passed, or even before it, I should say, I have been working really, really hard for everybody else. And I have not done basically very much of anything for me. I try. I try. It doesn't exactly work out, but so this year I've just decided to take this month off. It is what it is. So plus I've got computer stuff that I have to deal with. That's right. I didn't tell you about that. Brigid, you're old
Ooh.
enough. You remember Windows 3.1, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My computer, my primary boot computer. This computer boots dual Windows 10, which is what it's doing now, off of an SSD, which I mean it pops up really quickly. I give it credit for that. But the main boot system is Ubuntu Linux. 18.04. Whatever the hell number it is, which means that it's the version of Ubuntu that was released 2018 April. And major releases come out like every 2 years, so I'm kind of behind the ball, you might say, for like updated versions.
Yeah.
And my Ubuntu system is actually taking longer than 3.1 ever did to boot up, which means
Ooh, that's painful.
yeah, it's a spinny hard drive. I'm going to be replacing it
Mm.
with a SSD. I've had this little SSD over here for a while now, and I mean, 500 gigs should be more than enough for me to be able to, get everything on there that I need. And I've still got another 2 gig drive for, local storage. I don't think that I really need it, but at the same time, it's probably a good idea for me to have it just in case. I can always drop it in or not, as the case may be. So, whatever.
Yeah, get as much storage as you can get.
Yeah, well, don't forget, I've still got I've still got hexadecimal in the basement. I got I got
Yeah.
plenty of storage in that right at the moment. As far as to drinky tonight, I made a trip to. Okay, I'm gonna get away with this one. I did a little bit of shopping this week because I got out of the house for a little bit, and believe it or not, I went over to the Dollar General store nearby, and I picked up some things. I did not pick up what I was looking for, which was to find out, do they have personal lubricant? No, no, not really. No, that's perfectly fine. But I found a product of Mexico, Jarritos. In this particular case,
Ooh.
I have pineapple soda.
Ooh, I would like that.
I might. What I got was, like I said, I got this. There was
Mhm.
another one where it was apple soda, uh, orange creamsicle soda, and sangria flavored soda, non-alcoholic.
Sangria soda, that's
I don't know about that one.
interesting.
Yeah,
I like sangria in general, but as a soda,
you
I
know what?
don't know.
I've never had sangria. I
It's really
know,
sweet.
yeah, I know my dad used to do like uh red wine and put like peach slices in the thing and just let it soak and sip off of that.
Hmm.
But then again, the hell do I know?
Yeah, it's really, really sweet. I mean, extremely sweet. But just a PSA to anybody out there who has kids, if you happen to get like, you know, the old school metal orthodontics,
Okay.
don't drink sangria with those.
Why?
Because it reacts with the metal in there and the glue that they
Ooh,
put them on with will turn green.
that's not a good thing. Oh, that's actually
No.
smells
So
okay.
if you're yeah, so if you're underage and drinking alcoholic beverages and you happen to have braces, don't drink sangria. Just don't do it.
Yeah, how about if you're under legal age, probably just don't drink alcohol. It's probably a good idea.
Well, yeah, but kids
I
do stuff
know,
like
I
that.
know,
You know,
I know.
I'm just
I know. I grew up in the
Just
'70s
saying.
too. When hey, we finished this deck. Let's go ahead. You want a Paps too? Sure, kid. Here you go.
I mean,
So,
I didn't get busted. I mean, it was given to me, because my, aunt was over visiting and we were playing, I don't remember if it was Rook or what. And I was like 16 or 17 and drinking, some sangria because, I mean, they gave it to me. But yeah, the adhesive where my brackets were attached to my teeth turned green.
well, there you go.
It was interesting.
That's not bad. That is not bad at all.
I bet I would like that. I
Yep.
like pineapple anyway.
Oh, I love
Um,
pineapple.
I am having I found the name brand of it. It's Culinaria, but it's an Italian soda
Hmm.
and it's lemon.
Oh, mm. Okay. If it's what I think it is, there is a family story about that I'm not going to go into.
Okay.
Just trust me when I say that there is a fam. If it's the one I'm thinking of, there is a family story that we will not discuss.
Okay.
Just. I know I'm vague booking here just a little bit, but trust me when I say it's funny as hell. But yeah, just talking about
Okay.
it would be mean spirited. Um, Phyllis asking, Vaseline? No, no. I needed something that was water soluble, water based,
Mm,
and yeah, there's reasons. Probably not for the reasons that I'm actually can pretty well guarantee it's not for the reasons that anybody's thinking of. So don't even worry about that. Although one of these days I would love to get myself a, a container of methyl cellulose to play with. Most people don't know what that is, but trust me when I say it would be funky as hell. If you ask really nicely, maybe I'll explain later. Probably not, but I might. I might. Anyway, before I go looking into all the stuff that we've got, excuse me, I did go look at for Rafe Badawi. We do not at this point have any pictures or video or anything of him as yet. Again, not unexpected, just annoying. So, as of the recording of tonight's show, it has now been 1 month, 20 days since he was released from prison, and we still don't have any pictures or video or anything of him. We're hoping that that changes quicker than, the 10 years, but we'll see. Anyway, how about I get the 5 minute freestyle out of the way? We'll get the horrible scopes, and then we'll kind of chat up because if we don't end up with anybody, it's going to be one of those nights where it's a little bit of kibitz, and we'll kind of work it from there and see where it takes us.
okay.
All right. So with that in mind, with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5 minutes starts now. Breakdown. Now there are a couple of things, of course, and you know full well. Whenever I put one of these words down here, there's always extra pieces that go along with it. Breakdown. Well, let me break down what goes into the show, or in particular, what doesn't end up going into the show. I don't end up inviting people that I, let's say, communicate with online, discuss matters with, potentially troll theists with, and invite them to watch the show. I really probably should do that, but I'm really bad at self promotion, so I'm not that guy, even while I'm being that guy. In any case, I have been dealing with the story from, what was it, last week? The Satanic Temple's push to get the after school Satan clubs. And there are people who are just absolutely rock solid. I don't understand why you say that you don't worship Satan when you use the name Satan in the name of your group. And it's just like, dude, he's a mascot. What part of he's a mascot do you miss? I have to try to explain to these people over and over again. Satan is a literary figure. He's a mythological character. He is a symbol. He is X in an algebraic equation. He stands for a concept. It's not a literal personality. And yet these people don't understand. They can't get past the Satan's a real thing. It's so hard for me to go ahead and tell these people, just blow it out your ass. And I really think one of these days I should really tell these people, look, we're going to be on the air, whenever it is we're going to be on the air again. Come discuss it with us. Except that, there's that whole rule that I have for, we will not have people talking with us who is dishonest. That's an important thing. And that's the other thing I wanted to break down for everybody. Because as much as I'm trying to break down walls of communication, which there is at least one person that I know that is really annoyed that that whole communication wall is a problem, I will not have somebody on this show who I believe is going to argue dishonestly. That's really important to me. And it should be it should be an important piece to everybody else. Not if you run a podcast or if you run a show, but just in your normal day-to-day. I do not believe that the people that I've been conversing with, potentially trolling against, I don't believe that they are arguing dishonestly. I do believe, however, that these people are truly heavily entrenched. And there's a difference. It's a weird distinction. But there's something about the tone, the context of what's coming across, where, yes, they are holier than thou because they am Christian and they am right because they am them, whatever. But yet there are certain terminologies, there are certain things that they say where I don't think they're being dishonest. But I think the dishonesty is something that's been entrenched into them that they're not really conscious of. But if I could just get that one chip in there to get them just to stop and listen and actually internalize one piece. I don't want to make a convert. I want to make somebody who can actually say, you know what? I disagree with you. I understand your position and where you come from and what you're trying to do, but I actually vehemently disagree with it. That kind of breakdown, I am all for every day, any day of the week. And I can only hope that maybe, just maybe, I'll have one. Maybe just one. This is episode 406 on the docket, Your Honor. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Now, this ends up really, really funny. I wrote this. I wrote the title for today because it is May 1st, traditionally referred to as May Day. There was a oh God, this is so funny. Back in the annals of Buffalo Sabres history, there was a shootout between the Buffalo Sabres and I believe it was the Boston Bruins for overtime goal, sudden death. And the Buffalo player, I forgot what the hell his first name was, but his last name was May. He scored the winning goal. And I forgot what the hell the guy's name was. Rick Jenneret, I think. The longtime Sabres announcer was so captivated with everything, and he was screaming, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Because, all caught up in the action. Well, Um, I found out earlier today that Rick Jenneret just retired from being the announcer for the Buffalo Sabres. Long time doing the job. So I accidentally did a little thing for Mr. Jenneret. So happy retirement, dude. So that was kind of I had no idea. I honest to God, I had no idea. I don't follow the Sabres. Well, I don't follow the Sabres except for when it's a question mark of when the Sabres and the Islanders play against each other, which team do I root for? Because I don't know at that point. Because I've been a Buffalo transplant for a very long time now, but I grew up on the island, so you know. And when the Buffalo Sabres had as their goalie a Mr. Shujin for a while. That is how his name was pronounced. It's spelled Satan, but it's pronounced Shujin. So when I deal with some of these people and I'm half trolling them and they say, "Well, who do you think Satan is?" I'm just like, pretty good goalie for the Buffalo Sabres once upon a time ago, but you're not asking about that, are you?" And I mean, being able to see I could almost see the whole, dot, 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 dot of somebody's, just kind of, I know this isn't going to come across in the audio portion, but, the whole reaction of somebody reading it just kind of going, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's worth it. So, yeah. So this is going to be the beginning of the month of hell for me. I'm going to deal with the best that I can, and, we'll kind of work it from there. This, okay. There's one thing I want to say about this soda before we move on. This tastes like pineapple juice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know full well there are going to be some people who are just like, it said it's pineapple soda on the label. Duh. There's
Is it carbonated?
It is. But what I mean is, it doesn't taste like it's an industrial flavoring.
Oh, it tastes like actual pineapple.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, some people are kind of going, what the hell are you talking about? Think of it this way. Imagine it's summer. You go out, you're going to have a picnic with everybody, you're shushing away all of the flying insects, and you cram your face down into a nice piece of watermelon. Now, picture it's just after trick-or-treating, and you get these watermelon-flavored hard candies. And compare the tastes. It says it's watermelon.
But it doesn't taste like actual watermelon.
Mm-mm. It is that industrial watermelon. And that's part of the reason why I don't like watermelon, period. Then again, I've also got trust issues with chocolate chip cookies and oatmeal raisin cookies. So just that's a whole other thing.
I like both kinds of cookies, but it feels like almost like a trolling prank if you expect it to be chocolate chip.
Oh yeah.
And the taste is not chocolate chip, it's oatmeal raisin.
You want to really screw people up. Make chocolate chip cookies, but replace the chocolate chips with raisins.
No.
That's when you can really screw people up.
I mean, that's evil, though. I mean, that's like equivalent of taking Skittles and throwing some in a bowl of M&Ms.
No, I would always be able to tell the two apart.
Well, if you weren't looking, like if you didn't have your glasses on, you couldn't see and you weren't looking and you just grabbed a handful, that's just a horrible thing to do.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, and by the way, I almost missed it. Stephanie had said, those people rely on Satan being real to justify their evil ways. Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. I love the idea that I hear every once in a while. You think atheists believe that Satan's real? You know who thinks that Satan's real?
You do.
Christians.
Yeah.
Because we sure as hell don't.
But what's really funny though is remember I had said something last week about the Satanic Temple was donating funds to Ukraine to get other members out of there safely,
Oh, yeah.
and the Russian state TV had run with that because it was just so bonkers.
Mhm.
Uh, Apparently there's some guy in Ukraine that was doing a stand-up act in English, or at least trying to do it in English because he speaks Ukrainian and
As you
had
do, you know.
well, as you do, he's trilingual, but he even brought that up as part of his stand-up comedy, and it was actually pretty funny. He's like, only Putin could bring the Pope and the Satanic Temple together for a good cause. And he's like, how does he do that?
Wow.
And look at all this medical help and the provisions. He's like, thank you, God. No, thank you, Satan. And then he pounds on the floor. And then everybody was laughing.
Yep. And Stephanie's also pointed out, like disowning their children. Funny you put that one there, because that was one of the items that I did add into the when the question became, well, how could the Satanic Temple do anything good? And it's just like, dude, let's go ahead and talk about what some of the stuff you guys do, because it's exactly the stuff that the Satanic Temple fights against. But
Yeah. I
be
just
that as
thought
it
it
may.
was funny that it made it into this little stand-up piece. And he's not a big comic. And he's like, I've never done stand-up comedy before in English, but we're being bummed, so what the hell? And so he just tried.
You know, the funniest part about it is, now I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking to myself, maybe he's trying to be president. I mean, it's worked once, could
That's
work
what
again.
he brought that up to.
You know what, Chief? Wherever the hell you are, stay safe. We love you.
And he's like, oh, and I have to thank the Russians and especially Putin for saving my friend's life. And he said she, moved here from Russia 6 years ago. And she was very suicidal and always talking about killing herself, but now she has a goal. She wants to live long enough to see Putin die first. Thank you for saving my friend.
You know what? I think I can speak properly on behalf of all of the hosts here or not for HCTV when I
We're
say
not advocating any kind of suicidal ideation,
no,
but it was a stand-up
no,
bit, and it
no.
was,
We will not advocate for suicide. We will not advocate for the death of people. We
yeah.
will, however, advocate for, kid, you got a great life goal there. Go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, he did get the disclaimer that he got her permission first before you mentioned that.
Smart. So let's go ahead and get things rolling over here because, like I said, I've got something in horrible scopes that I feel very much of the that I'm suddenly of the red string on a cork board moment, and we'll figure it out together. So, being that it's time for the horrible scopes, if you know what your astrological sign is, cool. Those of you that don't, flip a coin, roll a d12. I don't care. Ask your astrological sign of your smart device. It might give it to you. Probably won't, but it doesn't really much matter. Anyway, and as an aside, when I started to write these, I had said that I needed to get some food in me first, and somebody had commented, it could be like trying to go to the store when you're hungry, and maybe maybe all the horrible scopes are going to be all about food. Just a little bit.
Hmm.
Aries, do you have someone you can spend a night at the opera with? You might want to re-examine your relationships to see who would be willing to do that with you. Because remember, intermissions are not just for getting up and stretching, but for refreshments. Besides New Year's, this is a perfect time to treat yourself to a glass of champagne.
Taurus, rumor has it you're planning on going your own way out west. We respect your choices and hope you packed appropriately for the trip. How you were able to get a rail company to ship your car to the left coast so you can drive it home is impressive. Maybe just fly out to Vancouver and rent a car instead. Don't forget your road trip CD binder.
Yeah, we've all got one of those still, don't we?
Yes, I actually do.
Yeah. I've still got a cassette, a little cassette suitcase around over here.
Yeah, we have one of those too.
Yeah. Gemini, cocaine, cocaine has been around for a very long time. After it became unfashionable to use in over-the-counter products like carbonated soft drinks of the brown variety, it started to come back in underground popularity in the 70s, which would be at about the same time that the musical genre of speed metal started. You need to do some investigation to find out if speed metal guitar was created to sound fast enough to coke heads. Just don't get too immersed in the research.
Might have been done by cokeheads. For cokeheads.
It could be. It could
Yeah,
be.
could be. Cancer Moonchild. Dancing is a great way to enjoy nights out, but the days of going to a discotheque and foxtrotting with some spandex wearing hottie are long past. You could bring a blow up doll, dressed up appropriately, and get on the dance floor and dance up a storm with it. It'll be a conversation starter, might get someone interested enough to learn a dance step or two, and you'll still have a designated driver at the end of the night.
I don't know if you're allowed to get into the HOV lane at that point, but at 2 or 3 in the morning, I don't think it really matters, does it?
If your windows are tinted, yeah, go for it.
It's a thought.
You'll see an outline of two people. Yeah.
Yeah. Leo, spring for you should be defined as having started when you can take a slow ride in your car with the windows rolled down and still be comfortable. Cranking your heat to max to keep the engine from melting down does not count. Get that water pump checked out this week. We kind of talked about that last night. The first car that I had, I think, was a 77 Granada, Ford Granada.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had to crank the heat several times while I had it because otherwise it was kind of what's the word I was looking for? Roasting itself.
Ooh, yeah, sounds like the old Ford I used to have.
Yeah.
We're You want to be a superhero, but there's no radioactive dumps near. If you go back to the 70s, the electric company had a superhero named Letterman, voiced by Gene Wilder. Can you imagine the Waco Kid or Mr. Wonka as a sweater wearing flying superhero? No? That's why you won't be one yourself. You need to believe in yourself. Remember, you take 3 running steps and then leap into the sky.
Dalan actually got the reference in that one because Letterman. Yeah, Letterman was great.
I remember that.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, yeah.
Libra, we want to tell you something good, but we'd be lying. Sorry, this week is going to be a tough one for you. Make sure you have at least 2 alarms set for every morning so you don't oversleep, that you have coffee ready to pick up, and that your contact lenses are not still in the cleaning solution. Do not mix up the hydrogen peroxide and saline bottles, or you're going to have a really bad visit to the ophthalmologist.
Ooh,
I know a little something about that.
ooh.
Yeah.
Scorpio, just because you're not 100% thrilled with the things you're doing with your friends doesn't mean it's a loss. Enjoy just being with people who not only tolerate you, but encourage you to join them. Consider bringing some food to share, preferably something your friends aren't allergic to.
Yeah, this time. This time. Oh, yeah, I get the next one, which means that you're gonna get the fun. Okay. Sagittarius, you're not having a heart attack. You really do have toast burning in the toaster. That's the good news. The bad news is that you not only forgot the toast, but you forgot you baked the loaf of bread yourself. Either get outside more or start taking some multivitamins to supplement your diet of hash brown breakfast burritos. Don't judge
Uh, don't judge me either. Capricorn.
me.
Okay, follow this. My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Season 3, Episode 2, The Crystal Empire, first aired in 2012. There is a scene where Rainbow Dash is in a sales tent calling out, "Who wants a flugelhorn?" One of the most famous flugelhorn players is Chuck Mangione. In 1976, he composed a song for the Summer Olympics in Montreal, Quebec. The name of that piece was "Chase the Clouds Away." It is possible that this is an Easter egg that has flown under the radar for 10 freaking years. And now you can't unlearn that.
Yeah, I have to unpack that one just a little bit. Um, the company that made My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, DHX, they're based out of Canada. And Rainbow Dash is one of the weather ponies who her big thing is that she could clear all of the clouds out of the sky in 10 seconds flat. So I'm really wondering, and I actually sent a tweet to the person that's credited with being the script writer to find out, is this just a happy coinkydink or did I find a legitimate under the radar Easter egg that nobody else has noticed?
It would be cool if he did.
I would be freaking overjoyed. So we'll see. Aquarius. The expression is money can't buy you happiness. Elton John's song is Mama Can't Buy You Love. I'm not going to sing the rest of it. But anyone that knows what a companion is knows that both can be rented for the right price in the verse. Just keep things shiny and be ready for the Firefly reboot to suck horribly.
I think I'll skip it. Pisces. Enough is enough, Pisces. All those tweets you love forwarding from threatening music notation are only funny to people who read and understand music. You know, kind of like the laugh math limerick. Move your cursor, damn it! That goes like this.
All right, now hold on.
12.
Hold on. Before you read it off, for the people in the live chat, here's the mathematical limerick for you. Try and read that really quickly. You got it yet? Good. Here's how that limerick goes.
A dozen of gross in a score plus 3 times the square root of 4 divided by 7 plus 5 times 11 is 9 squared and not a bit more. Friends like you, they really do. But this kind of shit has got to stop. And do I need to go read the numbers?
And those are your horrible scopes for this week. Remember, if you like what you got, I'm not working hard enough at these. And since I didn't get a bribe at all, you got what you paid for. And since you didn't pay for it, screw y'all. I am going to continue producing these because it's fun. I will have these posted online all over the place at the end of the week when I start working on the next ones because it's fun. I'm having fun doing it. And you know what? What the hell? It's fun.
Well, you should have fun.
Yeah, I try to. So if you would like me to be nicer or nastier, all you need to do is get in touch with me and I will see what I can do about it. Remember, I need to know which way to go and which sign. No, I will not tell anybody who asked for good or bad, but it's fun one way or the other.
And he he'll do it on the cheap too.
Mm-hmm.
Like toss in like $2 in Patreon and yeah.
Yeah.
He can be bought for a very low price.
Yeah. I want a pony girl for Christmas. Nobody gave her.
Okay, well that may be more money.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a problem.
or maybe you could, I don't know, donate $25 and we'll do what did they do? Those Vimeo greetings for you. Well, I mean, hell, you have people like Scott Baio do it for 50.
Yeah, but he needs it.
Well, yeah, he needs it, and that's why it's only like $50.
Yeah, there is that. You know what? $25. I will do the show naked.
Yeah. Didn't say it would be on camera for
But
all the way, but he did say he would do it naked.
yeah, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. All right, fine, whatever. So yeah, Phyllis has tried to bribe me, but she keeps forgetting to remind me that, hey, I want you to be, I need to know which way to be and for which sign. I don't remember anybody else's except my own. Hell, I don't even remember my kids. The only reason I remember Fujin's is because stars. There's reasons later. It's later. Anyway, so what do we got left on the floor that we should really probably talk about? I mean, in brief terms. There's always, the stuff that's pissing people off, like the attempts in well, not exactly attempts, but the crackdown on legal abortion in Texas, where, or you know what, it doesn't even have to be Texas. Let me hit this one really quickly first. The scare quotes here, fetal heartbeat bills all over the place. Um, you know a little something in medical stuff. The fetal heartbeat bills for blocking abortion is supposed to be happening at about, give or take, about 6 weeks of gestational point. Memory serves, there is no
There's
actual heart beating
there's
at that
not.
point, right? That's
There's not. I mean, at like 5 weeks, you have a fetal pole, which has like nothing in it. Uh, I mean, no. I mean, it's no. There's no cardiac activity at 6 weeks. Not even close.
yeah. It
Not even fully. It's not even a circulatory system. I mean, it's just.
yeah, it's worm. I mean, it's I hate to put it in such terminology, but gestationally speaking, biologically speaking, looking at what you've got there, you have a worm with muscle contractions. It's not even there's so little there's so few cells there that you don't have enough differentiated to actually be proper musculature. It's the formations of, and Stephanie
Yeah,
is saying it still baffles me how a fetus can have a heartbeat before it has a heart. Um,
exactly.
well, hold on a second,
It
because
doesn't have one.
a at what point do we go from a zygote to fetus? Is there an actual differentiation?
I'm getting ready to check and see. Because I mean, yeah, because at first you go from blastocyst to zygote to when when does the zygote become an embryo even?
Yeah,
Uh, psh,
because it is
yeah,
entirely it
yeah.
is entirely possible, and I could see where the battle of words could say once once, what's the word that I'm looking for?
I mean,
Once,
technically, becomes a fetus after the eighth week.
okay,
It's 6 weeks. It's not even a fetus.
okay, okay. See, what I was kind of wondering was if once sperm and egg have joined material, genetic material, at that point, could it technically be considered fetus because it is now a growing into a human body, even though it's
Uh,
at the very earliest stage, the very
yeah,
first
I
stage of.
misspoke actually. Because they're saying it takes about 8 weeks to become a fetus, but that's going from like actually after it starts developing. So that would be like 10 weeks after your last menstrual period.
Mm.
And these 6 weeks things are, 6 weeks after your last menstrual period.
And Beth is saying usually 11th week it becomes a fetus. Hi, Beth. Good morning.
Yeah, but I mean, the first 10 weeks doesn't really qualify. So,
Um,
yeah.
Beth. Say hi to Beth.
Hi, Beth. I'm still thinking. My mind is going all these places because, now you've got people in Oklahoma that are saying that women should be considered, on the hook for homicide from the moment of conception onwards.
Yeah, and then we've got other states where they're trying to say even if you will be charged under these, you shall not have an abortion, even if you've traveled outside of the state and come back, which
Yep.
is bullshit.
Yeah.
That is
I
that
mean,
is, that is
it's,
bullshit from even if just from the standpoint of and this is completely demeaning in the highest regard, and I understand that, but I want to show the absolute absurdity of this bullshit. Even if you take it from the idea of interstate commerce, okay? Think of it from that standpoint. You cannot go to another state, smoke marijuana in a state where it is legal, and then go back to the original state where maybe marijuana is still illegal and be prosecuted for smoking marijuana. Ergo, these lawmakers basically need to be hit in the front of the kneecap with a clue by four. And I say the front of the kneecap because I would really like to see what happens to these guys when their kneecaps suddenly hyperextend and they have to walk around like a chicken.
well, I mean, the best comparison that I saw to that is like some of those fugitive state, can't talk, hello word, fugitive slave laws.
Mm,
And I could see it getting to the point where, people start going to Canada just to get abortions. They might become the new Underground Railroad.
yeah, yeah. There's a possibility for that. And Beth, sorry to see that. I hope that we can kind of bring you up just a little bit, just a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'm not watching Chad. I'm sorry. I'm just,
That's
yeah.
that's that's all right. She was saying that, hey, all sorry, rather bummed tonight, so please excuse me,
Oh,
hun. Stay with us, enjoy the night. It even if we end up having some weird topics, I'm sure that we will have a little bit of fun, and even you in your dark heart will have a little bit of smiley time. I hope. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try really hard. Um,
oh, we have to have something to laugh at. I mean, it's just, God, I mean, you know, 2 years plus of a pandemic, plus all the war crap, plus all the extremists and stuff like that. But I don't know if it will do any good or not, but at least they have announced a date when they're going to have the House hearings or the committee, the J6
okay.
hearings on, I think they said June 9th, or was it June 6th? I can't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, they're coming soon. So you might want to get your Chex Mix or
Yeah,
your popcorn.
I am like a lot of other people. I'm really, really annoyed that things are going as slowly as they appear to be. I'm saying that very carefully because
Hmm.
it is entirely possible that behind the scenes, the stuff that we don't see and we are not privy to in any way, and
Hmm.
probably shouldn't be,
Yeah, yeah,
it
that's
is
true.
entirely possible that there's a whole bunch of stuff that is actually happening super damn lickety split. But because of the machinations, it appears that things are slow. Now,
Yeah.
the only piece that I'm super concerned about are the ones where we've got people like uh, Cawthorn
Hmm.
and blonde-headed three name people who are being taken to task of, there's a piece in the Constitution that says if you were part of an insurrection, you can't hold public office. So we're going to hold them accountable. And the courts are kind of looking at it going, they got a point here. You're going to have to prove your point that they're wrong. Because
Yeah.
all signs point to they're right. Like video
Hmm.
and text messages. And oh my God, all these.
If they do start prosecuting something, Marjorie Three Toes is going to be prosecuted along with that because even if she didn't actually participate in it per se, if they can't prove that she did that, Glenn Kirshner had brought up a very good point that part of the law, also allows charges for an accessory after the fact, and that she certainly is.
Ooh,
He cited the legal code for that and said, yeah, she was aware even after the fact and covered it up. And I went, oh, good point.
this could become very interesting very quickly. And I, I'll tell you the timetable for me where it's a line in the sand. Elections.
Hmm.
That's where it's going to be a problem.
Oh, yeah.
That is where I'm truly scared.
Yeah,
I
it needs to happen before then.
Yeah.
And another piece of this too is, um, cases may go before SCOTUS, um, to say that electors can be changed at the state level regardless of the votes. It depends on what SCOTUS does. And we've got three sitting justices right now who were on board with that back in 2000.
Ooh.
So if this does go before SCOTUS before 2024, they can make a ruling saying, yes, that's perfectly fine to do that.
Now you
If
remember,
that happens, then you know that the coup is a done deal and the fix is in.
yeah, you
But I'm
remember,
hearing this will go to SCOTUS at some point before 2024, and they'll probably decide that, yeah, that's fine.
yeah, you remember. Some weeks ago, I had kind of written down a question for myself to try and see about getting Andrew Torres on with this. The idea of what happened. Can someone sue a state at the federal level if the state will not um, obey its own laws? I forget exactly what the wording was, but the whole idea of that, if the state's attorney general is supposed to be prosecuting for something and opts not to, in clear violation of what their duties and responsibilities are, is it possible to compel that through, well, I mean, going at the court level of the state may not work, but could something like that be appealed to the federal level where the federal level can actually tell the state, look, you're not following your own rules, dude. You need to follow your own damn rules.
I don't think that can happen, and I'm gonna say that because, and yeah, I'm not an attorney. I don't have any kind of expertise. I'm gonna say no because if that were possible, then the reverse would be true. And I'm thinking of A.G. Paxton in Texas. He's been indicted several times for felonies and he's still holding office. He has not been tried yet. He hasn't gone to jail,
Well,
but
I can well
he's
imagine
still
part
in
of that is
office
because
because he's the AG.
he's the AJ, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit because what's that line? No one is above the law. Yeah,
Well, if nobody enforces it, then yeah, they are.
exactly, exactly, and that's a piece that pisses me off. Um. Oh, what's his butt with the gay freaking frogs is panicking because he's lost out on so much stuff, and I'm not saying his name because he is a piece of slime shit and deserves to be sent to oblivion in disgrace where he belongs, and I'm all for it.
Well, I think that Cawthorn's days are limited, though.
There's another piece about him too, by the way.
I
Yeah,
think that regardless of what the state of North Carolina decides, whether to allow him or not allow him on the ballot, I think it's immaterial. I think that GOP and or the people in North Carolina are about to toss him under the bus.
and rightly so, as I'm
Rightly
concerned,
so.
for a number of reasons. But one of the other ones was he was stopped at the goddamn airport again
Again.
with a fucking gun.
Loaded.
More importantly, again. This is not an isolated case. This is at least the third time that this has happened. And he's been let off yet again with effectively a warning of sorts because it was only the first mitigated time at this particular airport. And as far as I'm concerned, the Transportation Safety Administration or the FAA minimally should just ban his ass. And if he wants to get back and forth to DC, he can go ahead and hook up a chainsaw to his wheelchair and drive himself wherever the hell he wants that way. Am I picking on him because he's in a wheelchair? No, I'm picking on him because he's an asshole.
Anybody else would have been charged.
Many times over.
Yeah.
Ungoddamn believable. And it's not the first time. It's at least the third time that I can immediately think of. It's bullshit. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
You
And
get
driving on a suspended license and got busted for that again, too.
see you. I don't know if anybody has ever. Most people who have flown have had to deal with the question of, did you pack your own bags?
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, that immediately puts you on the hook if there is anything in your bag that shouldn't be there. Even if somebody else packed your bag for you, if you go ahead and say, "Yeah, everything that's in there is from my control," uh, you're done. He should be in jail. He should
Hmm.
be minimally he should be minimally fined. Minimally. And by minimally, I mean that is the very least that should be happening to his ass. Not that he should only be paying, $1 in time served in the lobby or something like that. Just on, it's a piece at a time. It's a piece at a time. It's a piece at a time. The fuckballs from Washington are back at SCOTUS, dealing with the whole praying on the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
Bremerton, they're still doing they're doing. I just Oh yeah, Ask an Atheist came back on the air, podcast wise, which was really nice to hear. I don't know if they're listening over there, but Sam, Becky, hi guys. You have to keep the show running long enough so that we can have Era Dust Part 3, because God damn it.
Yeah. This stuff just keeps coming back time and again.
It does. For no good reason.
Yeah.
And sideways to that, like I mentioned about the after school Satan Club and the school boards who are just scrambling trying to figure out what in the hell to do with themselves, and this and so many people who are just, we will fight this through the courts, and we, dude, you don't do that. You don't want to do that. You really don't want to do that. Why? Do a Google search for after school Satan Club court ruling and see what happens. And then go talk with your lawyer. And then we'll discuss it all over again.
Well, depending on motive, I mean, that may be intentional, though. I mean, one of the goals is to destroy the public school systems. So if you're blowing all of the money on lawsuits, there's nothing to fund the schools with. Ta-da!
You're trying to say that there is a possibility that behind the scenes there may be a push to underfund public
The
education,
schools. Hmm.
and these suits would be an out for them to have a reason to blow a whole shit ton of money.
Could be. We've seen crazier things happen for those types of motives.
God damn it. The worst part about it is I can see that as being plausible.
Hmm.
Just plausible enough. God
I
damn it.
I don't know that that is true, and I have not heard anything about that true, but I could see somebody behind the scenes using that as a tactic to do just that
Oh,
and say, "Don't blame us. We were just trying to." Yeah.
no, I'm with you, and I think that can considering that I write the horrible scopes, and my motivation is whatever comes up on my playlist out of all of my music,
Mhm.
and take inspiration from that, and you see what I end up with, week after
Yeah.
week after week. I I can't
I could.
completely dismiss that possibility. That's
We've
just,
got people out there that are that devious and that underhanded, but also that clever.
God, that's freaking annoying.
Hmm.
I can't I can't believe that there would be people who would intentionally do shit like that. But we've also talked on many a week how public school in the United States especially has been underfunded in general for a very very long time. Like, oh, I don't know,
Hmm.
since roughly 19, oh god, I was gonna put it right at the hands, right at the feet of Reagan again with 1980, but I don't know how far back it actually goes.
I don't either, but I mean, when Betsy DeVos was, put in as, the whatever it was,
Education, yeah,
yeah, I mean, her goal was to destroy public education.
and have people go to
Um,
private institutions, including and
mhm.
especially religious
Religious schools,
schools. Yes,
yeah,
because of course
and
she did.
they've done similar here in my state. They have vouchers to go to private schools, that are religiously based.
Mhm.
Um, but it was even decided here. I mean, there were people that were on the school boards here that their goal was to destroy the public schools. That's why they were put in office. And that was, after Pence, passed the voucher thing to allow people to, vouchers. Then it was decided at the state level that education was not even a constitutional right under the state constitution. And after that happened, a lot of the public school districts that were near the Indianapolis metro area lost their bus service. So kids had no way to get to public schools, and they said, we don't need to fund the buses because they don't even have a constitutional right to any kind of an education. Suck it.
Okay. Don't take legal advice from a podcast that has nothing to do with legal anything. However, a
I'm
sideways
just reporting what happened.
no, that's fine. A sideways question, if I may, Your Honor.
Sure.
Kids do not have a constitutional right to an education.
Mm-hmm.
And to that very same, kids do not have a constitutional right to buses to get to said education.
Yep.
However, are there rules on the book, Your Honor, for the violation of truancy from school?
Yes. So
Ergo,
I can see that this is a legal problem, but that seemed to not be a problem for them.
yeah,
They just deemed it so.
there's an expression for exactly this kind of thing in Italian. Uh, and my accent I know is atrocious.
Hmm.
But it loosely translates to. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Well, like I said, I mean, at the state level, they are intentionally trying to destroy the schools and push homeschooling and religious institutions, and that was one way to try to accomplish that goal. It's like if we don't have enough parents that are using vouchers to send their schools, then we're just going to end any kind of bus service for them, and then then what are they going to do? Yeah, it's devious, but they've been pulling this shit since 2012. And look at our primary is Tuesday, and we have open primaries, and so we can pick either ballot, and vote on. But the only Democrats that are running here that are running at all to primary anybody. There's a lot of offices that are not having any Democrats run for it because they don't have a chance and they already know. So there's not any running. The couple that we do have that are running for, like a representative in my district are running as Democrats, but they're Republicans. They're just not QAnon Republicans. They're out and out saying the GOP consider us rhinos because we're actually GOP conservatives and they call us rhinos, but we're running as Democrats. Yeah. So about the only race that really matters here that I can do a goddamn thing about is sheriff. And we've got two that are running for Democratic nomination on that. One of them is actually a Republican running as a Democrat, and the other one's actually a true Democrat. Other than that, there's not shit that I can do here. I guess that the GOP that is GOP that's running as a Democrat for my rep is better than Bouchon. So I guess that's who I've got to vote for, and hopefully he'll win in the fall. He's better than Bouchon.
Take your word on that. Let's take a swing down to Florida Man for a couple of seconds over here because there is a piece that we've kind of touched on, and I think it's only fair to go ahead and have a swing at this one more time, really briefly. Anybody remember that the legislature down there has decided that they're going to revoke 50 years of specialty privilege for Disney for the plot of land that they operate on and revoke the special administrative privilege that they have for that area where Disney effectively, took care of, all the stuff in there, which meant, policing, fire, medical, rescue, all that happy horse shit. And they're going to revoke that so that they can have control back over that area as punishment for coming out against the, as it's been referred to, the Don't Say Gay bill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to make this really, really clear. If you say the dumb thing out loud, I think we have all the right in the world to call your dumbass out for it.
Yeah.
When the governor went ahead and said, and I'm paraphrasing highly here, since you don't want to fall in line with what I want, I'm going to punish you for not agreeing with me.
Yeah.
If memory serves, that qualifies as malicious prosecution, and that's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the governor's the one that started the ball rolling for this. The legislature enacted the rulemaking to make that happen.
Yep.
He signed off on it without any information on the hows and whys and where-alls of how to make it happen in the first place. Not at all mentioning to anybody that it's going to cost a lot of money to buy out Disney's companies, not the Disney company, but the company that actually handles the administrative part for Disney. They have to, the state has to pay out the bond for
Mm-hmm.
that group before it can be dissolved, because that's what's written in the law originally. You can't just say, no, it's all gone like Thanos. No.
That's like $2 billion, isn't it?
I forget exactly how much.
Something like that.
It's a lot of
It's a
money.
lot of money.
It's a lot of money. But here's my question. The governor said, bow down to me or I will punish you for your political speech. The legislature wrote up in line with him. He signed off on it. My question is, if malicious prosecution is illegal, does that then mean that for signing the bill into law, the governor is guilty, which then means anyone that voted yes on this bill in the legislature, could they also be held liable for exactly the same reason, for enabling malicious prosecution? And if that is the case, that
It won't
will be
happen.
an interesting day in the rotunda for the state capitol, won't it?
It's not going to happen though.
I'm not saying whether or not it's going to happen. I'm just saying,
But yeah, I mean, I would think that if he, if they decided to sue and he was held financially, liable for that, I would think that they could be as well. I'm not 100% certain on that, but he doesn't care what it's going to cost because his whole thing, he is lining up to run in 2024. So he's doing whatever he thinks will set him up as the front runner for 2024. And so far, it seems to be working.
okay, Stephanie's got a couple of things over here. And Stephanie, please, before I say anything on that first one, please double check to make sure that you've got the right number on that, because that is a, you can well understand, seeing that number right now makes me think, I that might be a little bit on the high side. Would you please double check that one, because I don't want to go on that one just right away. But
What number is it? Like
hold on,
type it in the chat.
hold on. But it also said it does not come in for a year, and word is they will try to quietly repeal it before then. Now it is entirely possible, but knowing Disney, they will go tooth and nail to make sure. Oh no! You guys signed off on that, and you're not allowed to get out of that just by saying no. And Stephanie had also said, if that is possible, meaning the whole, malicious prosecution, the rotunda, the state capitol and whatnot, you can guarantee that Disney's lawyers will pounce on it. I would love to see that, because Disney has so much money. Disney has so much money. Okay, Stephanie did double check it. Uh, she'd put in that they've just realized that originally wrote
Hmm.
they've just realized that Disney has a $50 billion bond issue that the state will have to
Ooh,
pay for. Yeah. Now that's why I asked to double check because come back and said sorry, only $1 billion. Now I I know there's a big difference between 50 billion and 1 billion. That is a Sagan billion, but that's still $1 billion freaking dollars. That's a lot of money. That is a
yeah.
lot of money. Hmm. Geez. I wonder
But
they
I don't
could,
even think his voters would care, though. They just want to stick it to the libs.
you know what? I wonder if Disney California is probably going to, invest a little extra money into the courts in Florida to protect themselves because, well, why not share the wealth, right?
Well, and I think that the state of California actually has a surplus right now, don't they?
I don't know. It'd be really hard for me to believe that considering how many people have recently succumbed to various viri.
I, I will have to do some checking on that, but I think that their economy is actually doing a lot better, than it, was 10 years ago.
I don't know about that. I can only go as far as to say that things have been a little up and down with the different waves that have happened. Of course, in the ocean, waves from the ocean. Of course, that's exactly what I mean. I mean, I wouldn't be thinking anything other than that. That would be wrong. Some people
I
hardly
don't
get that.
know. I can see the state of Florida just imploding on itself just to stick it to the libs
Yep,
and not caring. As long as we take them out too, we don't care if we screw ourselves.
yep. And I was gonna say, there's so many people from New York that moved down there that maybe the New Yorkers, the liberal Democratic New Yorkers could. And then I suddenly realized to myself, no, it's the crotchety old, worse than Archie Bunker folks that moved down there.
Yeah.
Freaking annoying. I still don't understand that. Why Florida does not sound like the Bronx, I still do not understand.
It depends on which communities you go into.
It's true. It's true.
Because I know that my ex-in-laws, they weren't from the Bronx. They were actually from North Jersey, which is almost as bad as the Bronx as far as accents go. They moved down there.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. It really depends. I mean, there is North Jersey, which is pretty much New York. And then there's
Mhm.
North Jersey that's pretty much Pennsylvania.
Their accents were definitely pretty much New York.
Meaning Brooklyn, Yonkers, kind of
Like
New York City,
Yonkers,
kind of Brooklyny kind of thing.
like Yonkers.
Which means there were transplants going the wrong way. All right, it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, and the father-in-law was definitely like Archie Bunker.
Yeah, but at least Archie learned. That's the big. All right, let's
He
deal.
didn't, but everything was stupid. Everybody was stupid, and any opinion they had was just stupid.
Yeah, well, all right. Let's hit this a second. Uh, I know we have completely slid sideways from topic to topic to topic. I don't care. We don't have a hell of a lot of a lot of anything, so screw it. Uh, TV from the '70s. We've kind of talked on how there was stuff that happened in the '70s, in television especially, never mind in movies, that you could not get away with today. All in the Family is one of those that it's it could not be done at all easily today. It would take an incredible writing ensemble to be able to pull off the kind of thoughtful discussion about the topics of the day, and be able to do that today with what we've got now in anything close to the way that they were able to. Archie was a curmudgeon. There's no two ways about it. He was very much a conservative Christian. He knew what it was that he wanted. He knew how things were supposed to be, and God damn it, that's the way that it's going to be. But he learned incrementally, bits and pieces here and there. He actually learned. May not have been a lot, but the character actually grew. And yeah, he still made some disparaging comments about George Jefferson next door and his son, and yeah, he got kissed on the cheek by Sammy Davis. Oh God, I forgot about that. Oh God. He was going to get a picture with Sammy Davis Jr. in his house, and the publicist was there with the camera, and Sam is just like, okay, I'm going to take a nice picture with my good buddy over here, and he's just like, are you ready? All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and Sammy turns his face and kisses him just on the cheek as the flash bulb goes off, and Archie's face of just utter shock and just cannot process was just a thing of beauty. Carroll O'Connor was so amazingly good. He was so amazingly good. He understood the character. He loved that character. Oh my God. But being able to look at what was going on socially in the day, my God, there were so many topics that they covered that how, transvestism, which might have also been transsexuality, may have been a topic. Race relations, definitely. They dealt with if I remember right, they dealt with abortion, or it might have been Maud.
Maud did, for
Maud
sure.
did, yeah, for sure, yeah. They may have done it on All in the Family. I don't remember. They absolutely had to deal with rape for Edith, of all people, and that was not an easy episode. That was not an easy episode for me to rewatch all these years later. We dealt with a lot of social issues in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
There was an incredible amount that was changing, and there was discussion. There were some really hard-hitting things. And they did an incredible job back in the 70s. The most important one to me came from MASH. There was one episode where they're in the OR, and Hawkeye is talking with Father Mulcahy as he's working on stuff, and he's just like, and I forget the exact quote, but it was something to the effect of asking Father Mulcahy, who goes to hell? Well, sinners, naturally. Right. And in war, it's everybody. innocent and sinner alike. So, of the two, war is worse than hell because anyone that goes to hell deserves to be there, and nobody deserves to be in the middle of a war. And I'm highly paraphrasing it. And even as a kid, for me, that would have been about 8 years old for me, give or take. 7, 8 years, 9, maybe. That, even then, was something that kind of blew my head. And dealing with societal things now like this, and they were using the Korean War as a tableau instead in I should say in place of the Vietnam War. So just damn, when you got people that know how to write so that people understand what's going on, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean the cartoons in the 70s pretty much sucked compared to the golden age of Nickelodeon, but most of the weekly network programming that you had was really fantastic in the 70s.
Some of it was, well, let's remember, 69 gave us arguably one of the best cartoons ever made, Scooby Doo.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but if you go back and remember, the seal, what was it? Sidney Croft and whatever that did Edmund the Sea Monster and Land of the Lost and all that stuff. That stuff was just horrible.
Yeah, it was schlock,
It was a
admittedly.
lot of schlock, yeah.
It was a lot of schlock.
But as far as like the TV programming block from 7 p.m. till 11, and it didn't really matter whether it was ABC, NBC, or CBS. They all had good shows, and it was hard back then when you couldn't, record shows to pick one because there were just so many.
There was one. There was one that was absolutely a you have to watch it every time. ABC, Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
And admittedly, Schoolhouse Rock was, all of 3.5, maybe 4 minutes because it was a song, really. But I mean,
Well, that was usually Saturday morning cartoons.
it was.
And then sometimes I can't remember what the time slot was when they used to have the ABC after school specials. Those were pretty good too.
I never really watched those, but that's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay.
I would have those on when I was doing my homework and eating Doritos.
That's fair. I completely missed over here, by the way. Sorry, Steph. Had said North Carolina is GOP territory. The money is in Silicon Valley, which has a larger GDP than some countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, um, California has a larger economy than. All right, no, wait a minute. If I remember right, California has the ninth largest economy, I think, eighth or ninth. If it were
I'm
some
not sure,
country
but
in
it's
the
up
world,
there.
yeah,
It's up there though.
yeah, it's pretty high up there, and
The
that's
one thing
why.
is, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's what kills me whenever I hear the whole everything is crap over here in California, and I'm just like, how,
No, it's not.
how?
I mean, housing's really expensive and cost of living, but they also have some nice places there.
Yep,
And one thing that I find interesting is with, the aftermath of COVID and all of that, a lot of the people that had money that lived in Silicon Valley that are now working remotely, some of them have gone to other states, and some of it is by design. there are some places now that are starting to turn more purpley in places rather than red because the influx of some of these people from California
That works.
that still have those jobs, but these people vote.
That that works.
And I'm seeing people encourage other people to do the same thing. That, okay, we know that this area right here is, reliably deep, deep, deep blue. So how about some of us go and head to some of these, you know, uh, more sparsely populated red places and flip some counties.
Oh, I'm totally on board
I'm
for
all
that.
for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And okay, again, down another bunny hole on this one. Is it Three Toes that I heard before was saying we should have a cooling off period for Democrats moving into Republican areas where they should not be allowed to vote for like 3 years?
She did.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
You know, expressions like that should be disqualification just automatically.
Yeah,
It should be.
it's against everything that democracy stands for and against everything that's enshrined in the Constitution.
Hmm.
But they don't care. Like Oklahoma passing their abortion ban, you know, at conception, that's clearly unconstitutional, but they did it anyway. They're counting on Roe v. Wade being, stricken down, but they're not even waiting to see if it's going to be. They're just doing it.
And it's, if it were a matter of that, they had medical science on their side,
But they
that would,
don't.
but they don't. It would be a different matter. But even with medical facts on the side of those who are saying, guys, no, and challenging it in the courts, there's a hard time of trying to get the courts to actually recognize these things because they're not ruling on the side of factual evidence for whatever stupid reason. And it just blows my mind. Oh, yeah. Backtracking a second. Also mentioning Florida's drowning as the sea levels rise, which is possibly the best thing that could happen to it at the moment. Ah, yeah, about that. Hmm.
It is. And a lot of people move down there because they don't have any kind of a state income tax. But how are they going to fund themselves if their tourism industry dies off and they end up getting flooded and they've got infrastructure problems? And yeah, they will become one of those quote unquote shithole third world countries.
I don't know what to. You know, all it's going to take. It's not even going to need global warming's rising sea levels to really, really, truly impact the hell out of that state. All it's really going to take are a few more Cat 3, Cat 4, Cat 5 hurricanes coming through, washing the place over several times over, and dumping so much water in there over a progressive amount of time, a couple of years, 5 years, for areas to simply be waterlogged and soaked out and
Hmm.
then invaded by other species. Areas now, because of the way that they are, being reclassified as wetlands and protected. And ergo, no, you can't go back in there and repave highways. You need to relocate all of your highways. So, good luck on that. And it's just going to get encroached on, you know.
Yep.
But what the hell do I know? I don't know nothing about about meteorology and such. I don't even know about space rocks, so whatever. There's a science joke in there for people.
One thing that I thought was kind of horrifying is Texas is finally coming up with a sex ed program. It's about damn time, but you have to opt in rather than opt out. And the thing about kids, I mean, you've had a kid, and your kid, hopefully was more responsible than a lot of other kids. Uh, you send paperwork home in the backpack to get signed, permission slips and whatever. You find things 6 months later in that backpack that you never saw. And I could see a lot of the paperwork for the opt-in thing to get lost or misplaced.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all these kids that have no sex education training at all, none. Some of what they have gotten, if they happen to get it, is like a couple of people walking into a classroom with some latex gloves on with like the word STD written on ping pong balls or something and throwing them and saying, if you happen to catch the ball and you have a glove on, you're protected. And if you miss it, then you're not, without even putting what they are on there. But that's about the extent of their, education. Uh, at least now they're going to get some, but they've got like one of the highest teen pregnancy rates in the country for a reason. That would be the reason. And they were doing some interviews with like some grown women, and I'm not talking 18-year-olds, I'm talking people that are in 20s that should know better, that had cited urination as one of their preventing pregnancy tactics, and they thought that you urinated out of the same hole that you have sex in. Like, really?
Oh, okay,
That's scary.
okay.
They do not realize they have a urethra and a vagina and all that because they've never been taught.
As a technicality,
Uh-huh.
it is possible to have urethral penetration as
Well,
a technicality.
I
However,
know,
however,
but that's
however,
not what
however,
they're
however,
meaning.
however, as leaving that aside for a second, and I know some people right now are completely squicked out at this point. I'm
So
sorry.
that would
I'm
hurt.
I'm I'm terribly sorry. However, the way that you described it, of ping pong balls with the word STD written on it and latex gloves, and you throw it out to
Hmm.
everybody. Did you catch it? I'm just picturing some smart ass just, oh, okay out now, tweet, and spit it back out at them from catching it in their mouth. I'm I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've got that image in my head right now, and that's not going to leave anytime soon.
Well, it's just frightening to me that you have adults that don't even know anything about how pregnancy happens.
Now I get you. And when do we have to opt out of math training? When do we have to opt into math training? When do we have to opt into um, literature, specifically for the Canterbury Tales? When do we have to opt into Romeo and Juliet? We
You
don't.
don't have to opt into them. Those are being banned anyway, so the kids will never even know that they exist.
Right. But the point of the whole damn thing of it is, if it's biological function, a
Hmm.
scientific discipline, why does it have to be opt in? Why
Because because it's Texas. They don't want to have to teach it at all.
aren't they the ones
At
that went ahead
least
and banned a whole bunch of math books because of critical race theory kind of
that was
shit?
Florida.
That's Florida. Of course it was Florida.
Yeah, but Texas, what little education they have is only the ping pong balls with the abstinence only and no biological explanations, diagrams, anything. They're, not being taught. At least now with them being able to opt in, which is backwards. It should be opt out, but with them being able to opt in, at least they're able to opt into some actual education.
There
They're
is
going to have like educators come in and show this is how this works. This is, how your cycle works. This is what you need to do to not get pregnant.
Here's a question then.
But they can't say gay. That won't be covered.
Here's a question then. Ooh, I love I love the way that my brain works sometimes. Malicious compliance is not my middle name, but it should be. Follow this a second. After school clubs, hold on, it's not going where you think. For anybody that does not know about it, there are clubs out there, especially in the rural areas, called 4-H.
Mhm.
I'm wondering, because of course I would, I'm wondering if there could be, I don't know, 4-H clubs that could have students come around and, right in the middle of breeding seasons,
Mm.
'Cause it's just the natural part of life and animal husbandry and all. I'm not saying that the kids should be involved in milking stallions, which, yes, that's actually a thing I found. Did you know that a little vial for artificial insemination from some of these thoroughbreds can
It's
go for
expensive.
expensive? Doesn't even come close to it. I'm not going to tell you why I went looking this stuff up. I had my reasons, but holy balls, the amount, no pun intended, the amount of money that you can. Uh, I was going to say the amount of money you could blow through for something like this. It's probably a bad choice of words. I mean, okay, you know what? Just, if kids need to learn about what sex, but not learn about human biology, you know what? There's plenty of other mammals out there that could learn about. Preferably not dolphins. Please, not dolphins. But it's just not dolphins and not ducks. Why? Why not ducks? Here, this is why. If
Ew.
that doesn't make any sense to you, congratulations, you are the lucky one. If you want to find out, you can look up Casual Geographic. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah.
I've been watching a whole bunch of Casual Geographic videos. Oh my god, he is wow, he is so good at what he does.
Well, I mean, cats too. That looks kind of painful. Then I know what you're talking about.
I
I'll just go ahead and say it. Duck penis.
okay, yeah, that
I said it.
that's fine. That's fine.
It shouldn't get us an explicit tag, but should be fine.
Yeah, yeah. Fine. Kids, just remember, if it's painful, it might still be okay. Trust me, there are certain things that can still be okay. I could, of course, always explain, but um, I could, I'll be more than happy to answer questions later for anybody. We'll figure it out later. Rug burdens are bad. Uh, you know what? I'm just gonna stop right there because I could yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably a really good idea. Kids, don't play with pallet wrap. I'm gonna leave that right there. Just leave it right there for right now.
Yeah, in the medical field, things are about to get really super interesting. We should have things to talk about after hiatus is over.
What you think is coming up? Oh, the breathalyzer test for C19.
Well, I mean, that's really cool, but May 9th is supposed to be like a day of action. There's a bunch of nurses that work at Cedars-Sinai that are going on strike May 9th.
Oh,
Yeah,
I did not know about this.
yeah. I found out about it this evening and I'm like, oh, this ought to be good. Because they're, burned out from, COVID and horrible working conditions
You
and
think?
feeling like they can't work safely with, and having to take shortcuts and things like that. So yeah, May 9th, they're going on strike.
Alrighty then.
And yeah, and then there is a group of ER physicians that are based out of, I think the company that owns them is in Brentwood, Tennessee, but they have a lot of ERs in Dallas and some other states. But they just filed a lawsuit because according to the lawsuit, they were forced to work while they were sick with COVID. They were told not to test people that came into the ER for COVID, even if they had symptoms, and did not take proper safety precautions because they were not allowed to.
Fucking what?
Yeah, I'll get you some links. I
Um,
had seen on Twitter that some of this was going on. Other physicians were reporting that they were not allowed to test and things. And this was like just a few months ago. So it wasn't like tests were not available, they were just discouraged. But yeah, they have filed suit.
okay, hold on a second. If you have tested positive and you're a medical worker
Hmm.
and you are compelled to return to work and someone that you are in charge of contracts and dies from, uh,
Yeah, that's a problem. That's why
uh,
they're suing. They were put in that position because now,
wow.
especially with the huge, conglomerations, doctors are now treated like employees. They're not physicians, they're employees of these health systems. And health systems are the ones that said, you will go to work and do this and this, and you will not be allowed to do this and this and this. And so a group of ER physicians in Dallas said, oh, yeah, well, here's a lawsuit because you made us work with unsafe conditions while we were sick with COVID and you would not let us test. And so, yeah. Now, of course, the corporation that owns that chain of hospitals is denying any wrongdoing, but the lawsuit has been filed.
Well, I mean, they kind of have to because otherwise,
Well, yeah. But yeah, it came out, I don't know if it was April 28th or 29th when it was actually filed. But yeah, I was like, ooh, this ought to be good. And then found out about the strike with the nurses, and I went, ooh, this has got to be good. Things are about to go kablooey all over here. Can't imagine why.
you know, Stephanie's probably going to have a little something to well, Felix has already jumped in on it. There's a reason it's called the health industry. This
Hmm.
shit like this is an absolutely incredible argument for institutionalizing the medical system at as a much larger system, breaking it out of being simply a a profit driven corporation and into a system that is a service.
Yeah, this is all profit driven, and most of it is either the CEOs that are in charge of the hospitals or the large payers like Anthem and Blue Cross and Aetna and Cigna.
And
and
the other
they're
one's
the
here
ones
and
that's
there, here
making all
and
the
there. Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
I forget how much it was that United Healthcare ended up making. Something like it was like I can't remember what it was. It was like $61 billion. It was a ridiculous amount of money that they made, first quarter or something like that. Yet at the same time, they're being sued by, some hospitals and things because, they haven't paid claims timely, or they're denying stuff arbitrarily, or they're supposed to be covering mental health benefits and finding reasons to not cover it. So while
Because
they're
of course
making,
they are.
yeah. And so while they're sitting on this money that they're bringing in and paying it out to their shareholders, they're also being sued for not paying.
Which is, like we said earlier, that's
Yeah.
exactly, I mean, we talked about it off the air. That's, to my way of thinking, what an insurance company is supposed to be doing. People
Hmm.
put in, you get some overhead out of it, and you help the people that have paid into it. That's the way it's supposed to be in my head. But
It's the way it used to be.
you're right. You're
I
right.
remember in the 70s that Blue Cross and Blue Shield was nonprofit.
Yeah, and Felix is exactly right. We don't have a lot of time left, so let's close with this one. Felix had said there is something wrong with the system when insurance companies can tell doctors what they can and cannot prescribe and treat. I am
Is that
going
right?
to guardedly say you're 75% correct.
No, they are correct.
75% correct. The 25% that I'm disagreeing with is insurance companies absolutely should have the ability to turn around and say, what you have diagnosed does not jibe with what this drug has been approved for. We will not cover it under this situation
Well, yeah,
unless you
but
can show that there is a reason why this should work out. And on a case by case basis, we will then cover or not cover, depending as to, or percentage wise.
and that's how it works. I mean, you can get off-label approved with proper authorization if you have the documentation. And I can tell you that industry-wise, physicians and hospitals send documentation out the wazoo. Another thing that I found out is the OIG released a report yesterday where some of these Medicare Advantage plans
Mhm.
that are supposed to provide the same treatment that the traditional Medicare does, but for a lower cost, got busted after an audit because there were things that Medicare would pay for as medically necessary without any question that they denied authorization for, or had arbitrarily decided it wasn't medically necessary and then claimed, well, we didn't have enough documentation proving it was. And when they were audited, DHS said you had more than adequate documentation to prove that this is medically necessary. So you figure out how to stop doing this in the future. And in the meantime, you're going to pay, these fines, and you're going to pay out these claims that you were supposed to. They did like a 20% audit and found a whole bunch of shit. And it
Okay.
was from the Medicare Advantage payers like, Anthem and United Healthcare and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a racket.
Okay. So the what I described is, hold on a second. The way that I described it, which was diagnosis, prescription, match,
Hmm.
covered.
Hmm.
Diagnosis, prescription does not match, document, agree, disagree, percentage, payout. That's the way that I had always remembered it to have been, reminding you that my memory
Yeah.
of working in a drugstore goes back to, the mid 80s, and I was a high school
Yeah, the
kid, and
way
what the
that it
fuck did I.
works now is they'll say, well, you need a prior authorization for it, or you need to find a cheaper alternative or something like that. And then you send in the documentation that says, okay, they have this. This has been in a study. They've tried blah, blah, blah. It hasn't worked. And so we're doing this other thing. And, if they can prove a reason for it, then yeah, it should be medically necessary. But you have these insurance companies now that even looking at their own medical guidelines where they say we will make exceptions for this, and this per our guidelines. And you can document out the wazoo that it fits these exact criteria and send them 200 or 300 pages of medical records. They will still find a reason to deny it, even after they have said that they have approved it and given you an authorization number.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too.
That happens all the time.
That
And then they say you have one chance to appeal it, and you send them as much documentation and proof as you possibly can. And then they just find somebody who just denies it for the hell of it, manually override that stuff and deny it, and go, oh, you used up your appeal attempt. You only get one shot. Sucks to be you. They pull that all the time.
and
And it
Stephanie's
only gets worse.
and Stephanie's pointed out our NHS is being destroyed by the government. The Tories voted against it being funded and have worked ever since to destroy it.
Yep. Well, Australia's trying to do the same thing, and they had their government that was trying to push to base their medicine on our model. And I'm like, why the hell would you want to do that? Our model is not what you want.
No, no, it's not.
It's not. Most of our GPs now that are family practitioners and things, they're lucky if they make, 120, 130,000 a year. That's why nobody becomes, family practice anymore because it doesn't pay that much and there's so much administrative burden. It's not worth it. So you got doctors that are quitting and going, if I have 15 minutes scheduled with a patient, I don't want to spend 10 minutes doing paperwork and stuff. I want to see my patient.
Used to be, man.
Yeah. And they're penalized if they don't have so many patients come in, so many times a day. These corporations that hire them now and the insurance companies will fine them or penalize them, 20% of their payment or whatever for not getting people in and out and in and out. It's crazy. I wouldn't practice either.
Every once in a while there is the question, well, all right, the one of the questions was always, if you had one wish, what would it be? And I've always traditionally blown people's minds by saying eliminating forever willful ignorance. But you know what? If it ever came down to the question of what would you do with $1 billion, I would create a medical system that was run on the old model. You're cared for, you pay into the system, you're covered.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a profit that is made? The amount of the profit should never exceed one fiscal year's worth of revenue. So that if something should ever happen, once you reach that plateau, that's it. Everything else goes back into the system. Period. End of story. Done.
I should.
But
Anyway, we'll talk about the strike and stuff when we come back
yeah,
in June. Because I
yeah,
don't know how that's going to play out. I just know that May 9th had been tossed around as a date for a while in the Twitterverse amongst, healthcare workers and nurses and the like. And apparently, yeah, May 9th is the day of action. And then Cedars-Sinai is definitely participating. Their nurses are like, yep, we're on strike.
can't wait to see what happens with all this. This is going
I
to be
don't
a
know if
lot.
it's going to be one day, a week, a month, or whatever, but their union already put in notice and said, yep, going on strike that day because we're, tired of being, sued and treated horribly and, putting patients in dangerous situations and things, and we're done.
I'm gonna close off with this really quickly, and then I'll give you whatever piece you want to do. Um, the reason why, for me, the idea of a business should have a cash on hand profit. Follow me a second. A cash on hand profit, which is effectively an amount of money that sits in a bathtub, the quote unquote rainy day fund, shall we say, should never exceed 1 year's revenue in order to make sure that should anything catastrophic happen to the company or the industry as a whole, it still has a buffer to save itself so that
Mhm.
it has always got. And yes, it could be considered an exorbitant amount of money depending as to how much money that actually is. But the rest of the money goes to the area where it's needed. The people that are actually doing the goddamn jobs, which means doctors, nurses, especially nurses, staff of all kind, maybe the coders, maybe the people who work in a records room, if those things even goddamn exist anymore, or alternatively the IT department, because Lord knows they could use a little bit of a little nice every once in a while. And on top of everything else, let's not forget there are maintenance workers, there are administrators of all kind, there are people who operate these things up and down the board, and they could use good quality paying jobs without having to worry every time, am I going to get screwed over the next time my paycheck comes? This model to me comes out of my knowledge of old time radio. This doesn't sound like it comes together, but believe it or not, it really does. Back in the late 30s and early 40s, I know this from having listened to Jack Benny and such because I did research. After a certain amount of money that you earned back in the day, your taxes on your income went upwards of 75, 80, 90% if you were earning way, way up there after a certain point on a graduated scale. The people that were earning so much that they were taxed 95% on an amount that they earned was as if, as an example, if you earned $100,000, reminding you, like 1939, and up, you were taxed exorbitantly on that amount of money that you earned. Because did you really need to live on over $100,000 in 1939? The answer is fuck no. If the point of it is to try to make sure that everybody is able to be taken care of, because we can do that, then the people who have the most, those that have the most, are in the best position to bring others up. The idea of send down the elevator is not an idea lost on me. I still believe in it. I still believe it should be that way, even though there are a whole bunch of people that lived up through the 80s of the greed is good mentality. As far as I'm concerned, all of you that still believe in that, fuck you, in your ear, out your nose again, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be lucky enough that you'll end up dead from overuse of cocaine like you wanted to because of all the stuff that you grew up with. I want stuff to work, but I'm just one
Yeah.
person. The hell do I know?
I have to issue a correction because I misspoke. It wasn't Dallas. It was Houston. Sorry, my bad about the physicians.
Fair enough.
Just want to correct that.
Fair enough. And before you get your chance over here, Stephanie's pointing out NHS costs £56 billion per year. That's just the staff cost. Actual cost 136, I'm rounding, billion for 21-22, and half the cost of the US quote unquote health service by comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. So where would you like to end off before we close it up the gates for the time being?
Hmm. Oh gosh. I'm not sure.
We've covered so many
Uh,
goddamn topics tonight. I mean, I don't even know what piece you would want to have your last railing on.
I don't know. I'm not gonna rail. I'm just gonna tell everybody that, you know, still try to be safe, practice, it's social distancing, wear a mask. COVID is not done with us. We may be done with it, but it is not done with us. And, I don't know. I mean, my area is not that bad right now, but, numbers in New York are ticking back up. Got several counties now that are in the high infection rate zone. So do wear a mask. And the latest CDC figures that have come out is with this last Omicron wave, most of the people that have died have been elderly again, just like at the beginning. And yeah, it's still killing people that haven't had a vaccine, but it's even taking out the elderly that have had vaccinations if they haven't gotten their boosters or their fourth booster. So it's still here. Because it used to be a series of 2 shots and then a booster. Now they're recommending a second booster if you're immunocompromised, elderly, over the age of 50. Um, if you haven't gotten your booster, get a booster if you're over 50.
Meaning, in my case, second booster because I'm
Yeah,
53.
yeah. If it's been like 4 or 5 months, since your booster, yeah, go get it. You'll need it.
Fair enough.
FDA has approved it. But they're finding, that people who've only had two, possibly three, are still being taken out if they're elderly, and that, again, it's targeting the elderly and the immunocompromised the hardest, like it did before. But they said that up to 75% of the deaths that they've had in this last wave have been the elderly. So it's right. The last time that I checked, Omicron has 70 subvariants. So, uh, yeah, lots of petri dishes walking around out there, that may have multiple variants at one time. Just, you know, uh, practice hygiene, wear a mask, even if people look at you funny, because we want you to be here when we're back in a month.
Yeah, yeah. The second booster I did not know about, so thank you.
You're
I'll
welcome.
have to see about that in the meantime.
Yeah, I scheduled my appointment for next Friday. So, yeah, they're saying that, if you've been out for it for a while, that the protection does wane over time, which is why it's hitting the elderly again so hard because they don't build up as strong a response anyway because they're elderly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't see that report until today about the statistic rates and the mortality, so that's why I'm mentioning it.
I appreciate it. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and call it a night for now, everybody. Of course, as always, thank you very much for being with us. Hope that you had fun with us. Got something to think about for actually for the month ahead of y'all. So, thank you. Stephanie and Felix, guys, thank you. Seriously and truly, thank you. Um, I, for whatever reason, earlier today, I was actually thinking, believe it or not, should I even bother coming back? Should we even continue? And I have to every once in a while remind myself, it's not just me that's here and listening and talking and going through stuff. There is value in what I do and in what we do. And just you guys just being there means a lot. So just thank you. Brigid, seeing as how I don't have anybody else to give you a timing into, is there anybody in particular that you would like to go ahead and give a big hearty FU to, other than, almost everybody, because they deserve it?
Every single member in the Sedition Caucus and or the Freedom Caucus or whatever the hell you want to call yourself, go fuck yourselves.
I'm on board there. Oh yeah, and I'll give one extra one to the Supreme Court of these United States of America. The vast majority of you can go fuck yourselves too. You're making this whole thing a travesty. You're an idiot. Oh, and Justice Thomas in particular. Go fuck yourself. Any case, we will be back.
And Rand Paul, leave Fauci alone.
Oh God, yeah. And any of these people who keep saying that people who don't agree with you should be lined up at a wall and shot, yeah, the whole bunch of you should be prosecuted for terroristic threats. But that's just me. We'll be back in a month. This is not going to be a fun time off for me. It has been 17 years that I've been without my wife. She should have been 52 years with me. She should have been 52 years old with me. And there is not a day goes by I don't think about her. Usually in some kind of naughty way, but, that's just kind of the way that we were. I'm not going to give you the grandiose, don't forget to love the people that you're with. Because I can't. I'm not going to give you anything bold. I'm going to give you just one very simple and hard to argue with last item. Fuck cancer. It's as simple as that. It doesn't care who you are, where you're from, how much money you make, what the color of your skin is, what language you speak. Fuck cancer. There's simply no two ways about it. I can't tell you what that cancer killed without including a good part of me. Please know we'll be back. A little time off, a little computer time, but we'll be here for you. We will keep being here for you. And for those of you that are listening from the podcast version, thank you for believing in us. Thank you for paying attention to us. And we'll be very much looking forward to being back for you. Hopefully, I'll have a little bit more energy to finish off with at that point. So, until a month from now, or at least as far as the recording is concerned. I don't know when it's going to go out on the podcast feed, so do it for yourself. May, we're out of here, but we'll see you back in June. So until that point, as always, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And Shujin, it is 17 years, and counting, almost. I am still in love. Matane Shujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till next month and the next time we're together, everyone. As always, for now,